Well, hello. Welcome to my podcast. This is episode 55. I've not recorded for quite a long time. So you know what that means. I've got lots of things to share. So yeah, my name's Sam, otherwise Betsy, and I'm recording from Bedford, UK, and this podcast is about my knitting and crochet and sewing. Bit of personal stuff as well, I'll pop in at the end, if you're interested, that is. What's the date today? It's the 30th of May 2020. It's a very hot sunny day, it's beautiful out actually. And I thought I would take the opportunity to record. Now if you can see, if I'm wobbling about a bit, that's because the stand I've got my camera on has just been knocked by this little creature here. This is little Ash, our little lilac point Siamese kitten. Ash, you're in the personal section that I was going to do at the end, so you've come in a bit early. He's beautiful. Look at his little face. He's blind in one eye, or we think he's blind in one eye. He's his eye's not opened properly from birth, and the vet's gonna see about cutting this membrane that's covering his eye, his eyeball, to see if it'll open up better. And she said she's not sure there's a viable eye underneath. But it doesn't seem to make any difference to this little rascal. So you're going to sit on my lap. You sit down there. Good boy. Oh, he's gone. I was going to introduce you to him later, but he obviously wanted to come and see you now. So yeah, that's little Ash, our kitten. I was begged by my children, mainly my youngest, to get a kitten for such a long time. Kitten or puppy, but working full time I can't have a dog. I don't think it's fair, so they wanted to get some sort of pet, and I do have pet allergies, which is a bit of a problem. I'm hoping with Ash being a Siamese cat it won't be too bad. It's difficult to establish now because it's high season when it comes to pollen and hay fever, which I just suffer from dreadfully. So I am taking remedies, and I'm still sneezing and itching, and I get quite a scratchy throat in the mornings. And I'm not 100% sure what's causing it. I guess it's a bit of both actually, if I'm honest. So the test will come in autumn when the hay fever season is over, and we'll see how allergic I am to Ash. But anyway, I've made my bed, so I've got to lie in it rather. So he's here for keeps. He's due to have his second lots of vaccinations next week, and I'll take the opportunity to talk to the vet a bit more about what we're going to do with his eye. Like I say, it doesn't seem to bother him, and we think he's beautiful just how he is. Okay, so yes, loads and loads to show you and talk about. Whether I'll get through the whole list in one go, I don't know. We'll see. I might do, or I might split it up into sections. We'll see. but I think I will start with my work in progress. I've got 3 works in progress at the moment, but I'm only going to show you one because it's what I'm doing all the time. The other couple of things have been put to one side and I'll have to pick them up at some point. So I'll show you this. This is the lovely bag that lovely Traker sent to me. She sent me 2 bags. One went as part of the giveaway, and this is the one I kept myself, and I love it. And actually, something's just occurred to me, because this fabric is beautiful with the houseplants on it. I noticed this morning that my aloe vera plant that I have on the windowsill in my kitchen, which looks beautifully healthy and it seems absolutely fine, does seem to have some little green fly on it. So, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's getting a bit big for the pot. That might be the case. But if you've got any tips, then let me know. Right, so let me show you this. This is the Trescow jumper. Trescow jumper by Anna Duval. And I've seen it lots of times on Instagram. Several different yarny friends have made this already. So yeah, I've seen it lots of times actually, and I decided to have a go because it's very simple and straightforward. It's top down. You start at the neck and you do your raglan increases. Yeah, I think it's slightly longer at the back than it is at the front. It's a cropped top there. So yeah, it's really nice, basic, but that's what I like about it. I can't remember what the recommended yarn is, but it's basically a double knit, but using a fingering and a mohair held together. So you could either do just double knit on its own or holding 2 together, so I am doing that. I'm using Rowan pure wool in 4-ply, and that is colour 461. Now I've had this, in fact I found the bag, I'll show you. I've had it for such a long time. I bought the bag in the sale. You can see how much I got for it, and I looked at the receipt. It was £25 and I bought that on the 22nd of January 2015. So that's 5 years ago now. So that's Deep Stash. It's beautiful actually, I love the colour. So it may not be available anymore. I haven't got a clue. But just for the record, it's shade 461. And it's I would imagine they're still doing this because it's standard superwash merino wool 4-ply, but whether they do that shade or not, I don't know. This I bought much more recently, specifically to hold with this, and I got it from Love Crafts. So this is it Lana Grossa silk hair, which is kid mohair with silk, and this colour is 115. I did order it online, so I wasn't sure if it would go, but I think it works well together. This is obviously darker than this one, but nevertheless, when you hold it together, it works out nice. So here's the, let's hold it that way around. Here's the jumper. So I've picked a perfect time of year to make this. Yeah, it's quite hot to make while the weather's so warm, but it is beautiful. And yeah, I've just finished the raglan increases and split for the sleeves, so they're on waste yarn there, and this section I've only done about 1 inch under the arm, about 1 inch, and I'm just working my way down the body to the measurement. I'll I'll check them. I mean, I've got quite a way to go. Yeah, I'll check the measurement suggested in the pattern and then have a think about how long I want to make it. I've got a lovely little hexagon stitch marker there. Whether you can see it or not, I don't know. There's a little kitty meowing out there, and I'm just wondering what he's meowing about. He may be hungry, so I think I will pause and sort him out. Right, so I'm back now. I'm enjoying making this, even though it's quite hot to knit and to have on my lap in this lovely hot weather. I really, really like these raglan increases. When I've done this type of thing before, to make the increases, the patterns that I've made have always said to make one right, make one left, depending on which side of the raglan stitches you're on, which is fine, and I like that as well, but I do have to think about how to make one right and how to make one left each time, because it doesn't stick in my head. This is different. This is yarn overs, which is much easier to remember, so I'm really enjoying knitting this pattern. It's so easy and straightforward, and I really like the effect you get of the raglan increase there, because you get a hole with the yarn over, so that's nice. The only thing is, I've made a mistake on the back here, and I can't deny it does bother me a bit. I thought I'd fixed it actually, but I think it's just a slightly bigger gap there. So I'm hoping that once it's sort of all blocked, it'll be less noticeable. You can see it's slightly bigger holes. Like I said, I thought I'd fixed it, but I can still see it. So yeah, that's a nice, easy project, holding the 4-ply yarn with the mohair and just knitting away. Even while I was doing the increases, it was very relaxing, but now especially on this straight bit. There's some German short rows on the back neck, so that the back neck sits higher up than the front neck, which is always good. To have a jumper sort of falling down the back is a little bit strange. You feel like you always want to pull it up. Well, I do. And then there's more short rows to do on the back section to create the longer back than the front. So yeah, that's still to come. Yeah, I've started knitting this now. I just want to sit here and do this. But yeah, so Tresco jumper, and yeah, that's all I'm really working on. I've got 4mm needles there that I'm using. I think I've got gauged quite well. Yeah, what size am I doing? There's quite a lot of sizes on here. Finished bust measurement 110 centimetres. There's loads of sizes actually. Yeah. So that's nice. It's a nice thing to sit and knit on. I don't know that my brain's capable of coping with anything more complicated at the moment, but that's another story. So I'm going to tick that off my list. So that is the only work in progress I'll show today. I have got lots of finished things to share though. Where shall I start? I'll start with this. This is something that I don't know at what point I purchased this pattern. It's the Floral Bee embroidery pattern by Florals and Floss. And yeah, I purchased this pattern. I don't know whether you can buy kits or not. It's possible you can do, but this pattern's been around for ages, so maybe not so much now, but certainly you can buy the pattern from Etsy. from the florals, and I think it's Etsy. Like I say, I bought it such a long time ago, and yeah, I started it shortly after I bought it a long time ago, and then it fell by the wayside. But I finished it off more recently when I was a bit incapacitated. I broke my wrist. I tripped over back in March and found that with a cast on I couldn't knit or crochet, but I found after a while I could do sewing. So this occupied my time, and I'm very pleased with it. I think it's beautiful. A lot of it is using the full 6 strands of the floss, you know, the floss, the embroidery floss you buy, which makes it a lot thicker. I've never done that before. I've always split the strands up into sort of 2 or 3 or even sometimes 1. But yeah, I did it. I think I've made mistakes. I think I've used wrong colours, but anyway, I haven't really, because it's absolutely beautiful and I love it. Obviously still in the frame, not quite sure what I plan to do with it. I don't want to keep it in this frame because it's got this big chunky thing on, and actually it's quite a nice frame to work with. But whether I put it into another one to display like that, or to make it into something else, like a cushion. I'm tempted to make it into a cushion. I don't know. But I'm glad I finished it. I'm glad I got round to doing that. And I'm glad I found something to do while I had the cast on my arm, because I needed to do something. So yeah. I love the colours. Quite muted. I've used a beigey coloured linen background. And I think I used a friction pen to draw out the design. If I remember rightly, I put the print out, I stuck it to the back door because it's got a window in it, and then put the fabric on top and traced it so that the light from outside came through, made it easier to trace. Yeah, so that's my bee embroidery, and it's, yeah, flowers and floss. I'll have to put the links in on the show notes that I'll publish on my blog. So if you're interested in purchasing it or doing something similar, or just having a look, you can follow the links that I'll put on there. Yeah. So back in March, I think it was March the 14th, I was at home here and just pottering around. We'd had some fence panels blown down by Storm Dennis, which I think was probably in February. And I'd ordered some more panels to replace the ones that had broken. And me and my son had replaced the 2 that had come down in the storm. But my neighbour had pointed out the one at the far end was also a bit down, so I'd ordered the 3rd panel to replace that as well. And because the shed's next to it, it was easier to put it in from my neighbour's side. So she said, oh, bring it round, I'll get my son to slot it in, because the concrete posts are already there. It's a case of slotting the panels in. And they're not heavy. I managed to take the fence panel round and I put it in a garage. Went back in and thought, oh, I'll sweep the floor. Did that. Got the dustpan and brush out to sweep up the, you know, to get rid of all the dust that I'd swept. And went to put it in the bin outside, and on the way tripped over the doorstep onto the drive, onto my tarmac drive, and I broke my wrist, which was very clever of me. No alcohol was involved whatsoever. I knew I'd broken it straight away. The first person I saw was my daughter's boyfriend Alfie, who would just come round to visit, and he was just coming and he came, "Are you okay, Sam?" I said, "Alfie, will you drive me to A&E?" So yeah, Alfie and Mia took me up to Bedford A&E, and they were very good, and they put my arm in plaster after I kind of stretch it out to get all the bones to go back into position. And then I had to go back in for a CT scan, I think, and I saw the doctor, the surgeon, and they decided to operate there and then. And this was just before the UK went into lockdown because of the COVID-19 pandemic that's affecting the whole world. And so a lot of people were talking about it, and yeah, it was just before the lockdown. I think it was something like the 23rd or 24th of March that we actually went into official lockdown, so it was the week before that. And I'm ever so grateful for the staff at Bedford Hospital, because I got the impression that they quickly got my operation done, to get it done, dusted, because my operation wouldn't have happened the following week because they'd stopped all that kind of treatment because they needed to concentrate on treating people with the virus. And I'm so glad that they did that, and they were all brilliant, and I'm eternally grateful. I felt like I went through really quickly, and I was a bit taken aback that it was all happening. I'd gone in for the x-ray, and the next minute they're telling me they're going to get me ready for theatre, and I was a bit surprised and taken aback because it wasn't what I expected. But I'm so happy that they were doing that for me, because I think if they hadn't, because I've now got a metal plate in my arm, and I think if they hadn't done that, I may have encountered problems in the future, because maybe it wouldn't have healed properly. So I can make a fist, and I can do that one's fine. I can do all sorts of things. The only thing is I haven't got the same, like, I can't quite get that angle there, but that will come with time. It's better than it was. I have got to go back actually to see them at the end of July, and I have spoken to the physiotherapist, but this was over the phone because once again I couldn't go into the hospital. And in actual fact, I was in the cast for in total about 6 weeks, I think, and I got a call from the surgeon to have a chat, and he was saying we are trying to reduce the number of people coming into the hospital now, because at that point I think we were at the peak of the pandemic. But he said, but you do need to have the cast off, so you better come in. But I didn't go in. I decided to cut the cast off myself. And one evening while watching TV, I sat there with my best dressmaking scissors and I cut it off. It took me all evening to sort of like get through. And I did sacrifice the scissors to do it, but I just felt that it was the best thing to do. I phoned the doctor, I phoned the hospital the next day and explained what I'd done, and they said that, honestly, they're fantastic, they're so nice and kind, and they said that under the circumstances it was the right thing to do and that it was quite acceptable. I'd also found some good YouTube videos for exercises from physios. I think it was physios from George Eliot Hospital actually had recorded something, so that was really useful. And I certainly found that once I had taken the cast off and was able to move my wrist more, because obviously the cast's there for a reason, to keep it still so that it sets properly. Once it was taken off, I had a bit more movement. It was a bit swollen, as it still is actually, but nevertheless I had more movement, and I just felt like it got better. I just felt so much improvement within 24 hours, 48 hours. So yeah, I did it, and it seems fine. It's still a bit tight where the scar is, but Anyway, back to the point of I couldn't knit or crochet much whilst I had, or at all really. Now that's a lie. That is a lie. I did do a little bit. I managed to finish this project off, believe it or not, because it takes a lot to stop me from doing things, but I just managed, because this had been already started and it was nearly finished. This is the Nurmalintu shawl. I have spoken about this before. I've used the yarn is that I dyed myself. It's my Perfect Sock base, and the colour is Harvest Moon, which is beautiful. And it's a lovely, what's the word for this triangle? I can't remember what this, there's a specific name for this shaped triangle, but anyway, it's a triangular type shawl, and it's got sections of garter and sections of lace, which is so pretty, so pretty. It's just lovely. And yeah, I did manage to, I was very slow going because I didn't have the movement, obviously because of the cast. Interestingly, I couldn't do crochet at all. Obviously crochet, even though I hold the hook in my right hand and it's my left hand, my left wrist that I broke, because the cast was on and restricted my movement, I obviously do rotate that hand much more in crochet, so that was completely out of the question. But some sort of basic knitting, even though it was slow, I managed to do it. And then I did manage to do the lace bit at the end as well, which was amazing. So yeah, another finished item. And that's lovely. I've not worn it because it's been too hot, but I think I will wear it come the autumn. Colours are right up my street. Just love it. So yeah. So that's the Nurmalintu shawl. I'll cross that. Well, I can cross my bee embroidery off, can't I? My Nurmalintu shawl. So yeah. So that's pretty. This originally, because I'd started it quite a long time ago, originally I was planning on doing the lace sections in mohair, but I found it too tricky actually and had to keep on doing it, and I found it too stressful, so I decided to change my idea and just knit it all in the same yarn, which I've done, and I love it. It's very pretty. I do like garter stitch. I like it when it stretches all out when you block it. So apart from that, I think I tried to cast on some socks and I just couldn't do the long tail cast on. I couldn't get the movement there, so I gave up on that. But you know, I did try. However, like I said, I could sew. And lovely Alicia Paulson, I think that's how you say her name. She is, yeah, Alicia Paulson. I think it's Posy Gets Cozy is her Instagram name. Anyway, she does some beautiful soft toy patterns. This is Miss Maggie Rabbit, and at the start of lockdown she did, I mean this pattern's been around for some time, but she did publish it for free. I think it was paid for before, so I downloaded it anyway. I thought, well, I'm going to download it because if, you know, I thought, well, let me see if I can do it. So that's the actual pattern, and this is my beautiful Miss Maggie Rabbit. She's so sweet. Look at her. I ordered some felt rather. Well, it is fabric, but it's felt fabric from Wool Felt Company, and this is the National Non-Wovens Felt, which is what's recommended in the pattern that I used to make her body and her little boots. The inside of her ears is some cotton I had in stash, and also this cotton for her dress also I had in stash, and this is a Liberty print, but I'm not sure of the name of it. And I had plenty of floss as well to use for her, you know, for the embroidery, and doing the blanket stitch, which is basically how she's made. It's all blanket stitch, you know, everywhere. Was so therapeutic for me because it is done mainly with my right hand, which was workable, and my left hand I could still hold things, so I could hold it steady and do the work with the right hand, and it was perfect. It was very therapeutic for me to do, and I really enjoyed making her a lot. And I could also use my sewing machine a little bit as well, so I was able to make the dress. Look at her lovely little boots. Her little shawl actually is knit in, what's this, Wendy Fleur DK, which I just like the colour of this. I bought it at the local yarn shop, which is Helen at All Stitches, which is in Wilstead, Bedford, and I think it was in her bargain bin for £1, and I just thought it was such a pretty colour. I thought maybe I could make some mitts or something in that, but I did use a bit to make Miss Maggie Rabbit's little shawl, and I just think she's so pretty. She's just so pretty, and I really enjoyed making her. I think she kind of saved me really from going completely insane, because I needed something to do. It was really hard actually, because obviously I was off work, couldn't drive or anything. You know, the pandemic that has affected the whole world. We were in total lockdown at this stage in the UK. Couldn't get a slot for shopping. Yeah. And I wasn't working. And you may or may not know, but I work as a registrar, and so changes were happening by almost the hour there. All birth registrations, marriages and notice of marriage appointments had been deferred, and at this moment of time are still deferred. I'm assuming they'll come back on quite soon, who knows, because lockdown is being eased now. From the 1st of June things are changing, which is Monday. And the death registrations had to continue, but instead of customers coming in to do it, legislation was changed through Parliament so that people were, or are, because it's still the same at the moment, doing registrations over the telephone. So yeah, this was all changed at work. Obviously people who had booked their weddings were ringing up wondering what was going on, and I knew it was a really stressful time for my colleagues, and the fact that I wasn't there I found quite difficult actually. Not that they couldn't cope without me, I didn't mean it in that respect, but yeah, I did get quite down. Not only could I not knit or crochet, I mean I had plenty of time because I was off, but I couldn't go out. Not that I would anyway when I was off sick, but you know, obviously I went out for the odd walk, but really I didn't feel like going out that much at all. And yeah, it was hard, but obviously a lot of people were having a lot tougher time than me. Just, you know, each day I'd watch the daily briefing and they'd say how many people had passed away from the disease, from the virus. Oh, anyway. Right. The numbers are decreasing now, not as fast as I'm sure anyone would like, but they, you know, we've passed the peak, and you know, things slowly but surely will be getting back on track. I've returned to work. I actually, like I say, I cut my cast off. I thought I'm going to go back to work. I went back the following week. I struggled. I went back for 2 days and worked from home the 3rd day, because driving was a bit difficult to start with, because I've got a manual car, so I needed my left hand to change gear. So I did do a bit of practicing. I managed, and the following week it started to feel much better, so that was fine. So I have returned to work and started to feel better once I'd gone back to work. But yeah, this little Maggie rabbit was such a tonic for me at that difficult time. And so yeah, she's so cute. I love her. Put her back. I put her there, you can see her on the camera then. And I also purchased a little pack of mini charms. I think that's what they're called. Moda. This is Rue 1800. I don't know whether... Yeah, mini charms, 2.5 inch squares. You get 42 squares. I get these from the sewing studio. I think they're about £5. I just made this little patchwork placemat, just really for the joy of making something, and I could use my sewing machine. God, it's gonna be cold now. Pretty colours, goes nice with Miss Maggie. Yeah, I just like things like this. They're nice when you're doing your Instagram pictures to have something like this. I just like it to have around, you know, to put my computer on, you know, just to look pretty. So I yeah, sewed the squares together with a 6mm or 1/4 inch seam, and I just backed it. Well, obviously I've put a border of plain. This is Kona Snow, this one, which I generally buy meters and meters of. Just plain back, just machine quilted diagonally. I don't know if you can see that, you may be able to. I don't know if you can see it better on the back actually. And then I put some binding on, and I've actually, I sewed it onto the front and brought it back to the back and hand sewed around the edge, which something this size is no biggie. So yeah, it's a pretty little thing. Probably get used as a doll blanket at some point, I would imagine. But yeah, that again was a nice thing to make. I think I did make that. I think I made that when my cast came off. I can't remember now actually. But I think the problem I had is I could hold things, but it was just the movement that I struggled with. Miss Maggie Rabbit and patchwork placemat. See, I told you I've got loads to, my pen's run out. I told you I've got loads to share with you. So yeah, do I carry on? I'll just have my coffee and drink it up. Even though it's a bit colder than I like to drink it at. I think what I'll do is show you a couple of gifts I've been sent and call it a day, and then I'll probably do another recording maybe tomorrow or something with the other things I've got to show you. So oops, so I'll show you that tomorrow. But yeah, a lot of people, I had taken some time out of Instagram. I was posting less, and obviously I wasn't doing podcasts. Yeah, I was just a misery. I was feeling really down. I mentioned that, you know, I'm going through a divorce as well. That's still ongoing. And kind of came to some sort of standstill just because it was impossible to get hold of anyone when lockdown first started. I think everyone was trying to work out how they were going to make things operate. So it did stall for a bit, understandably. There's two sort of sections of it, the financial side and the actual ending of the marriage. Financial side is pretty much sorted. Me and Matt came to an agreement. So I'm staying in the house. I've actually bought him out of the house now. That's all gone through. He's in the process of buying another property, and he also has his studio full of his musical equipment and gear and things like that. So on a practical side, that was difficult to deal with because, like I say, it's all the legal side of things. You've got to, you know, transfer of equity, getting his name taken off the deeds, and there's always, it did seem a bit too good to be true to start with. You know, we came to agreement very quickly. Yep, let's do this. Thought it was all going to go through quickly, but of course it didn't. We got there in the end, but that was a pain in the neck to get sorted out, to be quite honest with you. No fault of Matt's or mine. It was to do with the legal side of things and the conveyancing company going quiet because I guess they were just trying to sort their staff out working from home. Yeah, well, that was sort of a pain, but we got there in the end, so that's that done. Still not completely divorced yet. That's still going through the motions. I think it's with the courts at the moment. Nobody's contesting it. Nobody's, you know, we're all just quite amicable, actually, surprisingly enough. Maybe that's a horrible thing to say, I don't mean to be, but yeah, I'm quite pleased, obviously, that it's amicable. But, you know, I'm still struggling with the fact that it's happening. And yeah, just sometimes just feel so down, and I don't really feel very sociable and don't want to be out there on social media really. But you know, like I say, lots of people have got many problems worse than mine, so I kind of just accept the fact that it's not a great time in my life and just carry on really. But a lot of people did reach out and say, oh, I haven't seen you posted much lately, how are you, are you okay? Lots of lovely messages from people, because everyone's really nice, aren't they? Well, not everyone. Can think of people that are not nice, but I would say all of my friends on Instagram are lovely. Can't think of anyone horrible on there. So thank you to everyone who did reach out and message me. I think I've responded, maybe not as quick as I probably should, but I think I responded to everyone. But I also got a couple of gifts sent through the post as well. Lovely Natalie, who, I've never met Natalie, she lives in Scotland, UK, but I feel like we've been friends for some time. She's always so kind and generous, and she always remembers my birthday, which is, you know, really kind of her, because I'm rubbish at remembering people's birthdays. And she just sent me some bits in the post, which was really nice. She sent me these pre-cut patchwork squares, all different fabrics, which I feel like I'm into patchwork quite a bit at the moment. Well, you know, I enjoyed making the placemat. I just thought, oh, these are really pretty. I don't quite know what I'm going to do with them yet, but I just fancy the idea of sewing them all together and making something. Maybe a bag. I might make a bag with them, possibly. They're really nice. So they're great. What are they? 3 or 4 inches, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'll use them as they are and sew them all together. Some real pretty fabrics in there. Really nice bits. Lots of green, which is nice. It's a nice one. So she sent me those and some minis as well. Some really pretty minis. Let me tell you, this green one, which is gorgeous, it's just got the word Kaffir on it. I don't know if you can see that, Kaffir, and that's a beautiful 4-ply merino probably. I love that colour. I love greens. This is really lovely. This is pumpkin juice and pale orange and peaches and naturals in there, so that's a nice variegated. And this cute thing, oh, this hasn't actually got a tag on it. I'm not sure if it did have and I've lost it, or it never did, I'm not sure, but anyway, it's gorgeous. It's pastel-y with pinks and greens, a bit of blue in there. It's lovely. So yeah, she sent me those minis. She's very generous actually, because also look at this. This is Vicky Brown Designs. Hopefully you can see that okay. It's very pale yellow on the natural base, and it's got some pinky purpley lilac-y bits in as well, which is gorgeous. Let me read what it is. It is 4-ply sock yarn, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 425 metres to 100 grams, and the colour is mini eggs. And Natalie has knit herself a jumper, I think. It could have been a cardigan. But she's definitely knit herself a garment in this, and this is what she had left. And so she gave it to me, and I don't deserve it at all, but that's very, very nice. And I think I am going to make myself a nice pair of socks with this, I think. So pretty and delicate. Perhaps with a nice stitch pattern. Oh, actually, it's probably quite a good colour to blend with others for a shawl. Oh, I don't know. I love it, and I'll have fun deciding what I'm going to make with it. Whatever it will be fantastic. It's so pretty. There is speckles of brown in there as well, which brings it alive. It's lovely. So that was so sweet, Natalie. Thank you. I don't know if you'll be watching this, but if you are, I obviously have messaged you already. But it comes through the post, so I wasn't expecting it, and it's like, I haven't ordered anything. What's that? And at first, I've got a little handwritten note from her. At first, I didn't see the note, and I was so confused. She's put in it her first garment, her Madewell cardigan, and she had the skein left over. Oh, Natalie, that's so. Her username on Instagram is Mrs. Q_2912. Natalie, you're always so kind. I don't deserve that, but it was very nice of you to send that to me. And the other thing I was sent is this tote bag with this lovely design on, which I think is kind of printed on. It's printed on, but it's got like a plasticky feel to it. It's beautiful, isn't it? Be kind, so lovely. And Rachel sent me this. Now Rachel is one of my niece's really good friends. They've been friends for a long time. I believe they met working together as nursery nurses many years ago, but I'm not 100% sure if they knew each other before then, but certainly they did work together at one point. And she said she saw this bag, and I think her friend makes them. Now, I don't actually know her friend's shop, but I will find out. I'm going to message her actually and find out what the shop's called, because I would like to put a link to it, because this is just great, this tote bag. It's a very simple tote bag, but the design, it makes it, doesn't it? It's just right up my street, obviously. You know how much I love these. And it's very kind of her to send that to me. yeah, I was really touched by that. She's got 2 children, and I know that sometimes when she's watching, they watch too. So yeah, Noah and Ava, I think. I hope I've got the names right. Thank you so much for sending that to me. Thanks to your mummy for being so sweet and kind and thoughtful. And again, I don't deserve it, but it really did make me smile and cheer me up, so it was very welcomed. Okay, so like I say, I'm going to leave it for that for now, and I will come back and talk about some other things that I've made in the time I've been hiding away in my little house. And yeah, in the meantime, I hope you're well. I really do hope you're well. And take care, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.
Catch up and crochet. Come in, let's catch up.